This is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36, the watch that disappears on my wrist until the coral red dial snaps my attention back to it. It's the one I reach for when I don't want to think about my watch at all, and then end up thinking about it anyway. I put this in the pure daily watch category. No date, no bezel gimmicks, just a time-only automatic that's built to be worn everywhere. It suits anyone who wants one watch to cover office hours, weekends, and a swim without shouting for attention. If you value proportion, comfort, and a pop of personality, this is that sweet spot. In the hand, it feels like a solid pebble of steel. The case is 36mm across, but it wears modern thanks to broader lugs and a 20mm bracelet width that gives it a planted stance. On my 7-inch wrist, it sits flush, never top-heavy, and it clears every shirt cuff I own. The domed bezel is polished and gorgeous. And it's also a scratch magnet. The first tiny mark arrived sooner than I'd hoped, and then a few more followed. After a couple months, they blended into a soft sheen that actually works with the watch's vibe. Oystersteel is its own thing, brighter and whiter than typical steel, and you really notice it on the case flanks where the light rolls off like liquid. The bracelet matters more than any spec sheet. This 3-link oyster is fully brushed on top, polished on the sides, tight tolerances, zero rattle. The clasp doesn't have a safety flip, which some will miss, but the closing action is confident, and there's the easy link extension inside. I pop the extra 5mm out in the afternoon when my wrist swells and snap it back down at night. That tiny adjustment is the hidden feature I use the most. The coral red dial is lacquered, super saturated, and flat in a way that looks almost like enamel. The double batons at 3, 6, and 9 give my eyes reference points immediately. It's a polarizing detail online. On the wrist, it makes telling time at a glance effortless. The hands and markers have Rolex's Chronometer, which glows a clean blue. When I step out of a bright room into the dark, it blooms hard for a moment, and then holds a usable glow well into the night. It's not a flashlight, it's just reliable. Setup is as simple as it gets. Unscrew the crown, wind a few turns, pull once, set the time. Push and screw down. No date to fuss with, no AM/PM pitfalls, nothing to babysit. The movement inside is the caliber 3230, a time-only automatic with a long 70-hour reserve. In real life, that means I can take it off Friday night, ignore it all weekend, and it's still ticking on Monday morning. I track accuracy out of habit against my phone, and mine has been consistently around +1 second a day. That's better than I need and exactly what I expect from a modern Rolex. There's nuance to the movement experience. The winding feel is grippy and precise, and the crown threads are smooth with a confident stop when sealed. The rotor rides on ball bearings now. If I move my wrist quickly in a quiet room, I sometimes hear a faint whir. It's not loud, but coming from older models where the rotor was nearly silent, I notice it. Also worth acknowledging, the occasional reports of low amplitude in some 32XX movements. I haven't hit that snag, but I'm aware of it, and I check my rate weekly. If it drifted significantly negative, I'd send it in under warranty without hesitation. In daily use, the OP36 is set and forget done right. I wore it through a full workday at a keyboard where polished center links would normally turn into a scratch party. No issue here because the top surfaces are brushed. I wore it under a stiff dress shirt and it slid through the cuff with zero snagging. I took it straight to dinner and the coral red dial became the conversation piece without me even trying. The next morning, I hit the pool. The twin-lock crown screws down decisively, and 100 meters of water resistance feels more conservative than marketing. I've rinsed it under the tap, swum in salt water, and never thought twice about it. Legibility is excellent in mixed light. The lacquer dial absorbs glare, so I don't get mirror-like reflections that wash out the hands. On bright days, the polished hands and surrounds pop. Under dim restaurant lighting, the markers catch enough ambient light to stay readable until the lume kicks in. The crystal stays distortion-free, and there's no cyclops to complicate things. It's just time, clean, and centered. A specific use case where it shines for me is travel. Airport mornings are early, and I want a watch that's awake before I am. I set it the night before, throw it on as I slide out the door, breeze through security without snagging the clasp on anything, and fly. On the plane, I flip the Easy Link open when my hands swell. At the destination, I wash it at the sink, wipe it on a towel, and head out. The color gives it personality on the road, but the rest of the package is pure utility. No rotating bezel to click by accident, no date to adjust across time zones, nothing complicated to break my rhythm. Some quieter details stand out over time. The way the case curves into the first bracelet link so there's no weird gap. The brushed finish that hides hairlines but still catches sunlight in soft bands. The feel of the crown popping out against a tiny spring when I unscrew it, reminding me it's sealed properly when I screw it down. The sound of the clasp closing with a crisp click, not slashy, just secure. There are quirks. The smooth bezel will pick up marks. If you want like new forever, this isn't the bezel style for you. The clasp, while secure, lacks the secondary safety flip you get on the Explorer or Submariner. So, for aggressive water sports, I prefer those models. The rotor noise is a thing you might notice if you're sensitive. And of course, depending on the dial, these can be tough to find through retail channels. None of that offsets how easy it is to live with day to day, but they're real parts of the ownership experience. The best part of this watch is how it fades until you need it. The proportions are right, the ergonomics are right, and the power reserve removes friction from the routine. The coral red dial adds a little joy when a day feels beige. The rest is classic Oyster, executed with modern tolerances and a bracelet that just works. If you're a purist who wants the essence of Rolex without the extra, this is for you. If you want one watch that can move from a suit to a swim without overthinking it, this is for you. If you want color without gimmicks and a size that respects the wrist rather than trying to dominate it, this is for you. If you're chasing a safety clasp tool feel, or you're anxious about every micro scratch, you might be happier with an Explorer or a Submariner. For me, the Oyster Perpetual 36 hits that balance of quiet competence and character that keeps me wearing it more than any other watch I own. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more honest hands-on reviews and drop a comment with your questions or your experience with the OP36, especially if you've lived with the coral red dial. Thank you for watching.